Iowa's pretty far away from the southern border. North Dakota is about as far away as you can get from the southern border, although you have the northern border. But like I did, you recently sent North Dakota National Guard to Texas. I think you just got back from the border. Can you talk a little bit about that and why you sent troops down to the border and went and visited? Can you just talk a little bit about the impact that that has on our states, and we're all experiencing it?
Well, absolutely, Kim, and thank you also stepping up like so many other Republican governors have to support Governor Abbott on the southern border. But every state is a border state. Let's just start with 110,000 overdose deaths in our country in 2022. The year before, under Biden, 107,000. Those are statistics you can't even comprehend. You take those 2 years together, and it's practically like taking out Des Moines, the whole every man, woman, and child. But think about it, it's 300 people a day, 300 Americans a day are dying of overdoses. 70% of those are fentanyl poisoning. You can't really call them an overdose because there isn't an appropriate dosage of poison-laden things, and the majority of that coming over the southern border. So we're taking mass casualties every day. I mean, if there was a plane crash every day with 300 people dying, I think you'd hear about it. We're losing 300 people a day. Biden, it took him 2 years to get to the southern border. National security, the federal government has a limited set of responsibilities. One of those is national security. They overstep, as Kim knows. They Bigfoot states all the time. The 10th Amendment says the federal government has certain responsibilities. The rest is returned to the states, comma, or to the people. To the people. Yeah, because we don't
He's
need.
not doing his constitutional duty, so the states have to step in and do it.
They do,
They're
and
not.
that's exactly what's happening. So supporting Governor Abbott, he's working to control the border. So we have two sets of National Guard down there. One's been on deployment for over a year. It's a group that's managing Lakota helicopter flights from San Diego all the way to Texas. The other group is helping specifically in Texas. But when I was down there, literally down there on Monday, Tuesday, getting interviewed by the national press, over my shoulder there was people wading across the Rio Grande, and I was getting questions about the swamp in D.C. In indictments. Well, there's people crossing the river behind it. So it's like we are with this administration, the Border Patrol, there's only 20,000. It's 19,855 authorized positions for the Border Patrol. They're not filled because they went into law enforcement to do law enforcement. Now they're actually doing paperwork as opposed to doing law enforcement.
Yeah, they're processors. That's all they're doing, right?
And not with computers, with paper.
With
paper.
Ridiculous.
And we're spending tens of millions a month to do the processing to move these folks into our country, which we'll never see. They get a court date 5 years from now. And then meanwhile, they don't have the material, the technology, or the equipment to actually do their job. And then the same administration, where I just said there's 20,000 Border Patrol for the whole country, including the 365 miles we have in North Dakota. And what
How many IRS agents did they bring in?
87,000
Okay,
they want to hire
right?
for that.
Yeah.
They want, it's like four times
Priorities.
four times what we have in the Border Patrol. So this is on a day one. If you give a group of law enforcement the support they need, if you give them the technology, you give them the staffing, you give them the material, they're going to be able to do the job. When I was talking to the Border Patrol people, they said, hey, we've done it before. We've controlled the border before. Just give us a chance to do it.
To do our job, right? To do our job. I don't think the American people know either, Iowans, and I know, Governor Abbott sent out a request through EMAC to all of the Republican governors to consider sending at least 100 National Guard troops down to the border to help. But they had already allocated $4.5 billion Texans to do what the federal government should be doing, and I think went back to their legislature again this year and asked for another $5 billion. So think about that. What states are being asked to do because this administration won't do their job. It is ridiculous.